As a newly independent nations of the 20th century, Nehru stands out as a unique personality who combined intellectual stature with mass popularity. Insta-Links PSUS Strategic Sale. Mains Link Q. Critically analyze the rationale behind divestment and strategic sale of public sector units PSUS, and their possible macroeconomic impacts. 250 words. Draft Indian Port Bill. Direction. Go through the provisions. Note down a few points. Understand the issue with Indian ports and why this bill was needed to address those issues. Context. Recently, the government circulated Draft Indian Ports Bill 2022 for wider consultation. It has major objectives of ensuring coordination between states and centers, prevent pollution, address issues with dispute resolution systems, and use data for the development of the port. Need for the bill. Indian ports are governed by Indian Ports Act 1908, which is more than 110 years old, and Major Port Trust Act 1963. Also, India's ports are falling behind its Asian competitors Sri Lanka, Singapore, in terms of cargo handled and infrastructure facilities. About the bill, aim. It seeks to repeal and replace the existing Indian Ports Act 1908, which is more than 110 years old. Significant provisions of the bill. Environmental compliance. The bill will ensure the prevention and containment of pollution at ports, by complying with the maritime treaties and international instruments to which India as a party. India has signed the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships. MARPOL. Institutional changes proposed. Empower and establish state maritime boards and State Maritimes Development Council for effective administration, control and management of non-major ports in India. Provide adjudicatory mechanisms for redressal of port-related disputes. Establish a national council for fostering structured growth and development of the port sector. Constitution of Maritime State Development Fund. Benefit of the bill. It will ensure optimum utilization of the coastline of India, address logistics bottlenecks, and help India emerge as a major trading hub. Status of Indian ports. There are 13 major ports and over 200 non-major and minor ports in India. Up to 100% foreign direct investment (FDI) is allowed under the automatic route for port and harbour construction and maintenance projects. Significance of the port sector. India has over 7,500 kilometers long coastline. About 95% of India's trade by volume and 65% trade by value is done through maritime transport. Administration. Major ports are under the Union list, owned and managed by the central government through a board of trustees, while minor ports are under state administration. Jawaharlal Nehru Port (JNP) has become the first major 100% landlord port in India, having all berths being operated on the PPP model. More on this on the 21st of July. Also see diagram below. Conclusion. Reforms in the port sector need to be supplemented by scientific and consultative planning, with a keen focus on ever-increasing safety, security and environmental issues. Insights on India. Com 103. Insta-Link Sagarmala Project. Sagarmala Project. To promote port-led development along India's 7,500 kilometers long coastline by developing coastal economic zones (CEZ). Mains link relate this topic with what are the issues plaguing the ports sector in India, e.g. India doesn't have a deep port with a sufficient draft for larger container vessels. India's eastern coast doesn't have a good harbour. Dependency on Sri Lanka and Singapore for transshipment and saturated major ports. What is the Indian port ecosystem? Then answer this Can. Q. Discuss the prospects for ports in India. What are the issues and challenges with Indian ports? Examine. 250 words. Prelims link. Try to learn more about India's position in logistics. As per the 2018 World Bank's Logistics Performance Index, India ranked 44 out of 160 countries, slipped from 35th rank in 2016. About Sagarmal project link given above, names, including location, of major ports in India. India, largest port as Vadhavan Port, MH, and Project Unnati, seeks to enhance the operational and financial performance of major ports. Q. Consider the following pairs. UPSC 2014 1. Hills Region 2. Cardamom Hills, Coromandel Coast. 3. Kamur Hills, Konkan Coast 4. Mahadeo Hills, Central India 5. Mikir Hills, Northeast India. Which of the above pairs are correctly matched? 8 1 and 2, B 2 and 3, C 3 and 4, D 2 and 4. Answer, C. Science and Technology. Recalling India's Antarctica activities context, Antarctica Bill 2022 was passed. Direction. This was already discussed in the previous article. 1 to 2 points extra have been added from Jayaram Ramesh's article. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 and implemented in 1961, made it mandatory for the 54 signatory countries to specific laws governing territories on which their stations are located. India signed the treaty in 1983 and therefore a law was needed to preserve the pristine Antarctic environment and ocean around it. Initially, India was left out of 1959 Antarctica Treaty, but it made a maiden voyage in 1982, under Operation Gangotri. Key features of the bill. Applicability. It will apply to any person, foreigners, corporations, firms, vessels or aircraft that is a part of an Indian expedition to Antarctica. Central Committee. 10 members to be nominated from various ministries. Jur 2 experts on the Antarctic. Jur Chairman, Secretary of the Ministry of Earth Science. It will give permits, ensure compliance and review information provided by parties to the treaty. Private tours and expeditions to Antarctica would be prohibited without a permit or written authorization by a member country. Permit can be granted only after the environmental impact assessment and waste management plan have been prepared. Prohibited activities. The bill prohibits certain Act 104 Insights on India. Com. Activities in Antarctica including nuclear explosion or disposal of radioactive wastes, introduction of non-sterile soil, discharge of garbage, plastic or other substance into the sea which is harmful to the marine environment. Offences and Penalties extends the jurisdiction of Indian courts to Antarctica. Conducting a nuclear explosion in Antarctica will be punishable with an imprisonment of 20 years, which may extend to life imprisonment and a fine of at least 50 crore rupees. Drilling for mineral resources or introducing non-native animals or plants in Antarctica without a permit will be punishable with imprisonment of up to 7 years and a fine between 10 lakh rupees and 50 lakh rupees. The central government may notify one or more sessions courts to be the designated court under the bill and specify its territorial jurisdiction to try offences punishable under the bill. Antarctic Fund, for the welfare of Antarctic research work and the protection of the Antarctic environment, establishes a Committee on Antarctic Governance and Environmental Protection. Issues remaining. The issue of a polar research vessel still needs to be addressed immediately. So far, India has been chartering such ships from countries like Russia and Norway, while China has raced ahead and has two of its own. What is needed? The acquisition of a vessel with ice-breaking and other technological capabilities on a permanent basis for as a logical next step to the passage of the built revamp of the old Matri Research Station. The polar research vessel will also be required as India expands its association with an involvement in the Arctic as well. India's Antarctic program Dakshin Gangotri. It was first Indian scientific research base station, now just a supply base. Matri finished in 1989, situated near Shirmacha Oasis. India has also built a freshwater lake around it called Lake Priyadarshini Bharati 2012 research facility. Sagar Nidhi 2008. It is first Indian vessel to navigate Antarctic waters. Instalink India and the Arctic. Mains Link Q. Throw light on the Indian interests in the Antarctic region. Analyze the role that Indian Antarctic Bill 2022 can play into protecting the Antarctic environment and regulating activities in the region. 250 words. Prelims Link Q. The formation of the ozone hole in the Antarctic region has been a cause of concern. What could be the reason for the formation of this hole? A. Presence of prominent tropospheric turbulence and inflow of chlorofluorocarbons. B. Presence of prominent polar front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of chlorofluorocarbons. C. Absence of polar front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of methane and chlorofluorocarbons. D. Increased temperature in the polar region due to global warming. Answer B. In the coming 75 years. Direction. Go through it once. Context. Even after 75 years of independence, India spends a meager 0.7% of its GDP on research and development. The author argues what should be done to improve innovation and science for the masses. Even the funds which come for are mired in several issues such as inadequate staffing at funding agencies, lack of transparency in fund disbursal, excessive delay in fund disbursal, outdated appraisal system of the outcome of the research. Fundamental policy changes required. Spending 4% of the national GDP on Israel and South Korea spend nearly 5% of their GDP on building physical and intellectual infrastructure across the country, especially in the universities. Globally competitive institutional administrators or Insights on India. Com 105. and standardized processes for better academia-industry collaborations, ensuring that individual institutions implement processes to accommodate the large budget, linking science with society by encouraging individual entrepreneurs. A robust system to link the labs with the entrepreneurs to funnel innovative ideas, products, and solutions to our society needs to be in place. Interlinks, Research and Development Ecosystem in India. Mains links Q. Investment in infrastructure is essential for more rapid and inclusive economic growth. Discuss in the light of India's experience. UPSC 2021. Women in Science. Direction. Keep a rough note on women in various fields such as women in defense, women in the judiciary, women in parliament, women in the social sector, women freedom fighters, women revolutionaries, and so on. For this article, no need to remember data, just know the trend and a few schemes related to women. Context. As per the Department of Science and Technology data, the number of women scientists has gone up in over the past 2 decades. Findings. Women among researchers increased from 13.9% 2015 to 18.7% 2018. Good number of participation of women till postgraduate level, and then there is a drop at the postdoctoral level. Women in engineering 14.5% less than women in natural science, 22.5% less than women in health, 24.5%. Issues. According to the 2018 Global Gender Gap Report, India is ranked 108 out of 149 countries. The 2019 All India Survey on Higher Education shows a significant lag in female participation at doctoral levels, partly owing to the pressures of marriage and family planning. Other issues. Loneliness of being an outlier in a male domain, where biases are rampant and getting oneself heard, a constant struggle, glass ceiling effect. Women scientists often have to shoulder a disproportionate burden of academic housekeeping in comparison to their male counterparts. Some famous names: Tessie Thomas, Soumya Swaminathan, Gagandeep Kang, N. Kalaselvi, and Annapurni Subramanian. Government measures, science, technology, and innovation policy 2020 target of 30% of women at a postdoctoral level by 2030. Getty, by DST, a grading system for institutes based on the enrollment of an impetus to the careers of women in its ranks. It is based on the UK's Athena Swan Charter. The Athena Swan Charter is a framework which is used across the globe to support and transform gender equality within higher education, and research. Kiran, knowledge involvement in research advancement through nurturing scheme to encourage women scientists. Curie. For infrastructure in women's universities. Vigyan Jyoti scheme. Encourage girls in high school to pursue STEM. Indo-US Fellowship for Women in STEM, STEM and Medicine. Conclusion. While policies and leadership roles are excellent incentive models, the further benefit could come from a system of mentoring and availability of funds, especially for those who want to get back into the workforce after a hiatus. Mains links link it with women's contribution in various fields and challenges they face, e.g., last year UPSC asked on women in the judiciary. Q. Counting more women in science and applied technologies is dire for the progress of society. Discuss. 15. Prelims links link it with various schemes for women. 106 or Insights on India. Com. Environmental conservation. New rules threaten jobs. Context. Government has proposed a new framework for regulating e-waste in India that may upset informal sectors. Direction. This is an ongoing development. Just go through it once. On e-waste, keep a one-page note on it handy. E-waste refers to all items of electronic and electrical equipment and its parts that have been discarded by their owner as waste without the intent of reuse. India is the third largest e-waste generator in the world after China and the USA. Global e-waste Monitor 2020. Status of e-waste in India. One of the fastest growing waste streams in the world. 95% of e-waste in India is recycled by the informal sector. What is the issue about? Under E-Waste Management Rules 2016, it is mandatory for the organization to comply with the extended producer responsibility of recycling e-waste. Complying with that, most firms outsourced recycling to organizations called Producer Responsibility Organization (PRO). CPCB has registered 74 PROs. In May this year, Environment Ministry issued a draft notification that does away with PRO and dismantlers and vests all responsibility of recycling with authorized recyclers, only a handful of whom exist in India. Now, authorized recyclers will source a quantity of waste, recycle them and generate electronic certificates. Companies can buy these certificates equivalent to their annual committed target and thus do not have to be involved with engaging PROs and dismantlers. Benefits: streamline and standardize the system, introduce an electronic management system that would track the material that went in for recycling, make recycling remunerative. Currently, the entire system isn't remunerative for recyclers, who actually do the job of recycling. Increase reliability. The current system managed by PRO isn't always reliable, as there have been several instances of double counting, where the same articles recycled once for one company are credited into the account for multiple companies. Objection against the move. Job loss. Several PROs have mailed their objections to the Environment Ministry, arguing that dismantling a fledgling system was detrimental to the future of e-waste management in India and job loss. Loss of investment for established PROs, loss of accountability. PROs provide check and balance against unauthorized recycling. Conclusion. Recent government data shows that e-waste recycling has doubled in the country from a rate of 10% in 2017-18 has risen to 20% in 2018-19. What is needed is a sound market-based incentive that encourages both demand and supply side factors to voluntarily adopt e-waste recycling. In this respect, the e-waste clinic at Bhopal is a pilot project wherein e-waste will be collected door to door or could be deposited directly at the clinic in exchange for a fee, which needs to be studied for its success. Government measures. E-waste management rules 2011 established extended producer responsibility, but it did not set collection targets. E-waste management rules 2016 a manufacturer, refurbisher, dealer, and producer responsibility organization PRO were brought under the ambit of these rules. Pros are professional organizations financed by producers with the responsibility for the collection and channelization of waste generated from their products to ensure environmentally sound management. Waste Management Amendment Rules 2018 to further formalize sectors by channelizing the waste generated towards authorized dismantlers and recyclers. Policy measures to improve the recycling capacity of waste or Insights on India. Com 107. Need for waste legislation that incentivizes collection and disposal. India has deposit refund scheme wherein the producer charges an additional amount as a deposit from consumers which will be returned to the consumer along with interest when the end of life electrical and electronic equipment is returned. However, lack of awareness of consumers and non-strict enforcement of measures has led to DRS schemes not being successful. Here Swiss model of waste management can be used. See case study, data collection of waste. Data on quantities and flows of waste can help in monitoring, controlling, and incentivizing the establishment of recycling units at the local level, which will help kickstart formal waste economy. Value of raw materials in the global waste generated in 2019 is equal to approximately 57 billion United States dollars. Public awareness on waste economy. Apart from the environmental and health benefits of recycling, consumers can earn by using schemes like DRS. Need to take support of NGOs, community organizations, RWAS, etc. METI, under Digital India, from 2016, is creating awareness about safe disposal and hazards of informal recycling. Realizing the potential of circular economy. Improving end of life of waste through circular economy. Sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling existing materials and products can extend the life cycle of products. Insta-Links waste management. Mains links queue. The electronic waste, or e-waste, is one of the fastest growing waste streams worldwide. Discuss the measures that are needed for the safe disposal of waste in the country. 250 words. Prelims link queue. Due to improper, indiscriminate disposal of old and used computers or their parts, which of the following are released into the environment as waste? UPSC 2013-1 Beryllium 2 Cadmium 3 Chromium 4 Heptachlor 5 Mercury 6 Lead 7 Plutonium. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. A, 1, 3, 4, 6 and 7 only. B, 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6 only. C, 2, 4, 5 and 7 only. D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Answer, B. 10 more Ramsar sites added. Context. India has added 10 more Ramsar sites, or wetlands of international importance, taking the total number of such sites to 64. Direction. Ramsar site is important for both mains and prelims. The news came a few days back, but we have covered it today. Importance. Many of the sites are already notified under the Union Government's Wetland Conservation and Management Rules 2017, meaning development activities within the water body as well as within its zone of influence are regulated. Being designated Ramsar site means now the sites will be on the global map for their importance in providing ecological services. Criteria. The site has to test across 9 criteria, including its services as a habitat. 10 sites are Kunthankulam Bird Sanctuary TN. It is the largest reserve for breeding resident and migratory water birds and an important bird and biodiversity area forming part of the Central Asian Flyway. Gulf of Mannar Marine Biosphere Reserve TN. This will be the first marine biosphere reserve in South or Southeast Asia. Vembanur Wetland Complex Kanyakumari TN. It is an artificial human-made inland tank and part of the important bird and biodiversity area IBA. It forms the southernmost tip of peninsular India. Voyog Bird Sanctuary TN. It lies near the temple town of Erode in the state of Tamil Nadu and is con 108 Insights on India. Cited a paradise for bird lovers. Vedantangal Bird Sanctuary TN. This also comes under the Important Bird and Biodiversity Area IBA. Udhayamathandapuram Bird Sanctuary TN. Notable species observed at the site are Oriental darter, glossy ibis, grey heron or Eurasian spoonbill. Satkoshia Gorge, Orissa. The wetland is located over the Mahanadi River. Satkoshia is the meeting point of the Deccan Peninsula and the Eastern Ghats, two biogeographic regions of